What up, y'all? Well, Truce in the building. Chatting with Truce. What's cracking? Um, the day of the Bitcoin halving. This pillowcase does not fit. The day of the Bitcoin halving is gone for now. Till the next 210,000 blocks get mined. I failed to go live. Like I said I would. I said I was going to go live. And I'll admit right now on video that I actually fell asleep during the Bitcoin halving. I fell asleep, man. So to my future self that's looking back on this probably 4 years from now, I was asleep, dog. I fell asleep trying to watch everybody's live stream, and I was supposed to go live. And really, it don't matter because, I mean, dog, everybody was live. So, like, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to go live to record it just so I could be there at the... But, I mean, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Most importantly is the mathematics of it, so... But, yeah, man. I turned the camera on because I was thinking about something. Like, I started to shoot a video in my head of what I was going to say, and I didn't... It was getting away from me, so I was like, yo, turn it on. Turn the video on. So I was thinking about how I found out about Bitcoin. You know, some of y'all might have heard this story before, but I remember I was on a video game server. This was back in like mid-2017, like early 2017, mid-2017. And I was on this video game server, and I was talking to another developer for like the servers. And I was initially looking into getting into more like stocks. You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking about different stocks and stuff like that to get into, and trading and stuff like that, and learn how to trade and all that. So I'm talking to this guy, and he was like, yeah, man, what kind of investments you already had, what you thinking about getting into and stuff like that. And I'm telling him whatever, yeah, I'm thinking about getting a little bit of this, a little bit of that, or whatever. He said, okay, you want to really get something that's gonna pop? you need to look to this thing called Bitcoin. And I was like, Bitcoin? I was like, what is it? He was like, it's like a digital currency. It's like an electronic coin. And I was like, an electronic coin? Like, okay, like, what are they gonna send it to me? Like, and like, I think back to how ignorant I was, hearing somebody tell me about Bitcoin, and it completely reminds me of how people sound when they talk to me about it today, when I tell them about it. But man, you want to talk about somebody that was ignorant to crypto? And I didn't know nothing. I remember the feeling, that I had inside trying to grasp what the hell he was talking about when he was trying to describe to me what Bitcoin was. It's so crazy. Which is crazy is I think this was right around... No, this was after that. This had to be right after the last Bitcoin halving in 2016. Well, yeah, it had to be because it was much later because it was mid 2017. So it was a year after the halving. Right when it started to pop, it was probably like, God, was it like $2,000? I don't know. But I remember it still being, it was like 4 digits. It was, you know what I'm saying? It was like $2,000-$3,000. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I remember asking him, I was like, okay, well, how much for one? Like, it just reminds me of what people say to me now, I'm like, how much for one? He was like, well, one is like $3,000. I was like, for a coin? For a digital coin? Like, it was just, I was like, nah. Like, I can see now thinking back. I never, after these years of talking to people about it, I understand more now so how they feel because of how I am sitting here right now thinking back to how I actually felt, when somebody was trying to tell me about Bitcoin and crypto. I mean, and that was just Bitcoin. He just told me about Bitcoin. He didn't tell me about all these other coins and stuff like that. He just talking about Bitcoin. And I remember asking him, I was like, well, do they send it to your house? Who do you actually get it from? Who are the people that you get it from? Like, trying to, you're asking these questions that make perfect sense now, but like back then it's just like, it didn't make no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? And I remember telling him, I was like, all right, well, I'll look into it, and they didn't really look into it. Um, but I did keep hearing more and more about it. So time went on, and I think he wound up getting some. But time went on, and I continued on the way of like learning how to trade and stocks and looking at charts and stuff like that. I was really getting into like trading stocks and stuff. So I'm learning more about that, and time going. Mind you, it's already 2017. So now I'm on like YouTube looking up, trading videos and things about stocks. And now it's like, third, fourth quarter of 2017, the crypto market really started to take off, really started to get some traction. And by me looking up these videos about trading, commercials for YouTube. I didn't have YouTube Prime back then, Now I got the premium. I mean, I got the premium. I don't see any ads, you know what I'm saying? But back then I didn't have premium, and so I would have to watch the commercials. And yeah, Craig Grant was on there talking about the bitcoins he earned and all that. But I was watching trading videos, and I was seeing people these Bitcoin commercials. So I'm like, dang, is that electronic thing that dude was talking about again? You know what I'm saying? And sure enough, it was. And so once I started clicking on those crypto videos, those Bitcoin videos, um, YouTube was just sending me more and more crypto stuff. So I really was like, okay. And then my business partner at the shop was telling me man, he was like, some guys I know they getting rich off this electronic stuff or whatever. I was like, yeah. I was like, let me do some research. Let me figure out, what I'm saying, what's going on with this or whatever. So I did some research or whatever, and I wound up buying some Bitcoin. And of course, I got into some other stuff, BitConnect and all that. Whatever, we already know how that went. But yeah, I got Bitcoin first, and I started getting into Bitcoin, and I learned about Ethereum, and I started getting into that, and then those other platforms and stuff came along. But yeah, that's the story right there. Is um, a guy that I knew. He was basically like a program developer for multiplayer online games, and he told me about Bitcoin, man. And that's crazy, man. It's just crazy to sit back and think about, how I felt. I never really thought about that. I mean, I did, but I didn't really think about that as deep as I did whenever I talked to somebody else new about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, about how just non-understanding it can be. I mean, if you think about it, if you didn't know, it's hard to act and think about not knowing anything about Bitcoin and putting myself in those shoes now that I know what I know. But reminiscing on, how I felt, it really puts it into a better perspective of how I sound when I tell people about crypto and why they're doubtful and they don't understand, and what do you mean it's intangible, you can't, it's nothing you can grab and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to explain to them, the supply and how the math works. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he didn't really get that deep into detail with me, but yeah, you know, I was ignorant. You know what I'm saying? I was super ignorant. And it just makes me think back with all the Bitcoin halving and everything that's going on right now, I went back and watched a bunch of videos, and what I did was I always do this every now and then. I try and go back and I try to go back and watch videos from the time in the market cycle of where we're at now. So, I went back today and I tried to find as many old 2016 Bitcoin halving videos as possible and watch that and watch the sentiment and see how people felt and see what people said, and what I'm saying, how many people was talking about it and where was the market at, and what I'm saying, it makes me think, because 4 years from now or 2 years from now, we're all going to be thinking back and looking back the same way, and hindsight's always 2020. And the hardest part of the chart to see and think about is the candles that ain't been filled in yet. So I think it's an exciting time to be in crypto. What a time to be alive, man. Well, if I got a message from my future self, I'd probably say Truce has left the building.